Welcome to the Triple Threat Podcast. I am your host, Logan. I got Adam here and Darby. This is something new that we're going to be doing. It is powered by Moss Marketing Group here. We are inside of the MMG bus. So this is actually the first podcast being recorded inside of the MMG bus. It's come a long way from what it started as. We'll have to drop a picture in here so people can see it. It was a kind of an eyesore in the beginning. So I'm glad it's getting put to use now, and actually it's kind of grown on me. So this is going to be a podcast where we talk about all things sports, and none of us are sports experts, and I don't think any of us are going to claim to be sports experts. We're just a bunch of dudes that like talking about sports with our friends and cutting it up. So we're going to talk about what's relevant going on in the sports world, and have different stuff that we go over each week. So this week, to get it started, I think we're going to talk a little bit about the state of Major League Baseball. The All-Star Game was this week, the Home Run Derby, and what's going on in the baseball world. So, you guys got anything to add?
No, I didn't watch the All-Star Game. Did you watch the All-Star Game?
I watched the 6th through 9th inning of it. Did you?
I watched about the first half of it, yeah. So
yeah. I think the Royals players came in the 6th inning, so that was really all I cared about. But I think the state of Major League Baseball is something that has been in question for probably the last 10 or 15 years as a whole. There's a lot of, I feel like, broken parts in baseball. The length of the game was put in question. The TV contracts are a huge controversy now, but it's just something that is dying, I feel like. And what do you guys think are some things that baseball needs to do to bring itself back?
You know, I think it's tough right now. I mean, I'm a little bit older than you guys, and grew up watching baseball and huge Red Sox fan. And growing up in Boston, baseball was a big deal 25 years ago, and I think that's the problem.
And that's saying something, because the Red Sox have won 4 championships in the last 20 years.
Absolutely.
So like if they're winning championships and they're putting good teams on the field and people still don't care about it, then it's a problem.
Right. I mean, they're a big deal in Boston. Right, but when ratings are down, you can see it. Even in Boston, when the Red Sox Yankees games, aren't even selling out. I mean, 2 years ago, Fenway Park had open seats everywhere, yeah. And 10 years before that, they held the record for most sellouts in a row. So it's like, what's going on with this sport, and why are people not actually watching it?
Yeah.
Why do they not care anymore? Because that's kind of what it seems like.
I mean, I think that it's apparent, too, with the Royals. I mean, it's a little bit better this year, but, like, over the last 7 years since they made, the championship runs in 14 and 15, like, you could buy tickets to go to the game for less than $10.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, half of the stadium's empty. It's a little bit different this year, but still, it's the first time your team's been good in 10 years almost, and you're not even, I don't know if they've sold out a game this year. Right?
Well, I mean, they always have, it seems like there's a gimmick to get people to come. Right, like firework night, and
giveaways,
bobbleheads, right?
Dollar hot dog night. It's
like there's always trying to get people to come, and how long ago was it when they won the World Series? The Royals, when did they
15.
win? 15.
Yeah.
And after that, they kind of blew it up.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. And are now 10 years later, almost 10 years later, back to relevancy. Yeah. It's tough to keep people interested.
Yeah. It is. I mean, they've gone through a ton of changes to manager changes, ownership changes, talking about a new stadium. And even with all of that, like, you think that there would be some level of excitement about new stuff happening to the team, but it's just not there. I mean, the All-Star Game, so we were talking about this before, but the All-Star Game this year was the second lowest ratings and viewership. The only other one that was worse was last year's All-Star Game.
Right.
It's like we've had 1 and 2 in the last 2 years, lowest viewership, an All-Star Game. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It's not for home field advantage. What's the point of it? I mean, I feel like we could talk about this in all sports, the All-Star Game. But
collect money, I think. A lot of TV ads were probably on,
yeah.
Right? A lot of sponsors probably sending clients to the game saying it was going to be special. I mean, we did get a special national anthem performance. So we did get that. But, I mean, aside from that, like I said, I didn't honestly realize it was on.
Yeah.
I wasn't even looking for it.
And that's bad. Well, I feel like the TV contract situation, at least here, I think it's the same way across the country with a lot of teams, but it's almost impossible to watch a Royals game. Like, you've got to pay over $100 per season for Bally Sports subscription and then have it on your TV or on your phone to be able to watch the game. When people aren't even watching the regular season games, how are they going to know that the All-Star game's on? Like, the MLB does a horrible job at marketing their product.
It's almost a hassle to try and tune into the game, yet alone go to it. We talked about it before. Paperless tickets. Logan and I spoke briefly on it. Yes, they had robot bartenders at the All-Star game. Personally, I wouldn't probably want a robot making my drink. I'd probably like to see the person making it myself. But I just think the game is evolving. It is America's pastime. The generation watching the game are mostly older people, and I think the viewings and stuff are down just basically. Like I mentioned, it's almost a hassle to watch the game. That older generation doesn't want to download a ticket on their phone. They want to pay cash. They don't want to download apps on their TV. They want to just be able to click to the channel and it be right there for them. I think that they're almost making it impossible for you to watch the game, yet enjoy it, if that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty technologically advanced and can figure out what's on TV and how to download an app. But I was trying to watch the Red Sox Royals game this past weekend, and I couldn't find it. And with the generation that is getting older, like you said, it seems like it is the past, and it's sad, but to hold people's attention is difficult, and it's a slow, difficult sport to watch.
Yeah. They've even sped up the games, and I feel like that has made a difference. Like, I used to go to the ballpark, and I wouldn't want to sit in my seats for 9 innings of baseball. I'd get up, go walk around, especially if it's hot, and I still really don't. But I'm at least engaged with the game because it's like something's always happening. You don't have the 15 mound visits a game now. You don't have the minutes in between batters. They've sped the game up by almost an hour, so that's super helpful. But I think, like, trying to capture people's attention over a long span of time, talking the MLB season, it's just hard whenever you've got all of these other sporting events. It's during the summertime. People are busy. Like, you lose people to other things because your season, they know that they're going to be able to turn it on for 8-9 months out of the year if they want to and watch it. It's like they're not missing anything. I feel like by this time of the year, like with the NFL, like, we're itching for football. Like, I would kill to watch one of those shitty Thursday night football games tonight. Show me the Bears and the Panthers.
Right.
I would watch every second
When's
of that.
the Hall of Fame pregame or preseason game starting?
Had a buddy send me a fantasy trade earlier. I was like, dude, it's almost time. I was like, let's go.
Get a little chills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're close, man.
We are close. Talking about boring, I think that's enough about baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we'll dive into the national anthem a little bit here in a bit. But, another big story today, ESPN releasing the top 25 athletes. So this week they've been putting out the rankings of the top 100 professional athletes since 2000, so of this century so far. The top 25 were released today, and I don't know about this list. I know, like, I'm a very statistical and numbers oriented guy, and I just don't see how this adds up.
No, I took offense to it, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, I don't understand how the greatest quarterback of all time could only be 5th.
And it's coming from a Patriots guy. I mean, I do agree with you though. I'm gonna give Tom credit where credit's due. I think right now he's the greatest of all time. I don't know if it'll be that way when 15's done, but so running through the top 5, we had Michael Phelps at number 1. Serena Williams at number 2, Messi at 3, LeBron at 4, and Tom Brady at 5.
That's unacceptable.
I think it's almost criminal to put LeBron James above Tom Brady. I understand he has the longevity is super impressive. What he's done in his career is super impressive, but he hasn't won championships. I feel like he hasn't shown up on the biggest stages consistently. Tom Brady is just an unheard of case when it comes to his winning percentage on the highest level. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is kind of becoming the same thing, but he did it first. 7 out of 10 Super Bowls he won, 70%. Like, LeBron's won. How many of LeBron's championships that he's been in has he won?
4. He's got 4 titles.
How many has he been in?
I want to say 9 or 10. Could be even a little bit higher. I mean, he won a bubble championship. So
do we count that though?
I mean, technically, I guess, but he won 2 as part of the Heatles, down in Miami with his buddies Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, and they were only 2-2. They actually lost 2 with him while down in Miami, and then he won that one in Cleveland, which is I think in my opinion the most impressive one he won. Carrying that team and coming back from 3-1.
I completely agree with that. That was a special
against a
special
team
run with his hometown team.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was awesome. But you look at the fact that he's lost more than he's won, and you've got a guy, Tom Brady, who arguably is the best football player of all time, right? As of right now, especially if you look at his stats and the amount he's won, and you put LeBron ahead of him, when arguably is not the best basketball player of all time.
Yeah. 7 out of 10 chance. So 70% of the championships Brady was in, he won. 40% for LeBron, 4 out of 10. Brady has the highest career passing yards and TDs in the NFL. LeBron is not. Is LeBron highest in points in the NBA?
He is. Yeah, he just broke the record last year. But again, when you've played for over 20 years, you're going to add up. Those points are going to add up.
Yeah. So I think we can all agree on that one. Number 3, Messi. Should Brady be above Messi?
I think Messi, with the fact that soccer is such a global sport, that probably had a lot more to do with where he was ranked. But at the same time, how many World Cups did Messi win? 1?
Yeah.
Right? As the leader of the best team, he's won 1. Brady, again, won 7. And, yeah, it's a global sport, but at the same time, I mean, it's the NFL. It's the best, the only, football league, I guess, that's out there that matters. So, I don't know. I would just – it's confusing in that, Messi just – bouncing around from club to club, and now coming to the U.S. and I don't know who came up with the list. Because I'm confused.
Who came up with this list?
It's super subjective because top 100 professional athletes. So if we're going off of pure athleticism, then
Brady's probably 128.
There's a case to be made that Brady's not even on the list, right? And LeBron could be considered to probably be up there. Michael Phelps would rightly be at number 1, just a freak of nature. Yeah. Right? Like, there's so much that can be talked about with how you could position this list based on if you're talking about athletics, you're talking about statistics. Some cases we're comparing apples to oranges. Like, we've got F1 guys on here, we've got NASCAR drivers on here, golfers.
Sure.
I mean, what are we considering? What's the criteria to be on this list, and then what are we judging them off of?
Well, they have some stats in how many championships they've won, or majors, or races, or whatever. But you looked at how do they correlate it? Do you get points for winning a championship? It just doesn't make sense to me looking at this list and saying, okay, Michael Phelps is number 1, and Tom Brady's number 5. Yeah, is Michael Phelps a phenomenal athlete? Of course he was, right? But at the same time, is it his competition was not as good as the people that going up against, right? Was just the competition less? There's less people in swimming, right? There's less people he's going against. So,
and consider the team aspect of it too. There's zero leadership that has to take place in swimming for someone to win. Michael Phelps doesn't have to go out there and lead a team. He doesn't have to rely on a defense.
Immerse himself.
Yep. It's literally the 4 inches between his ears.
Question from the jump seat. I don't know if they would hear me, but do you think there should be a list for individual sports versus team sports? Would that make you guys happier if it was individual top 50, team sport top 50? Because I feel like it's really hard to compare. Sports versus individual.
I feel like either way we're comparing apples to oranges in some regards.
Yeah.
We can sit here and debate who's better Michael or LeBron, all day long, and we can look at stats, we can look at the way they led their teams, how long they played for, and we can talk about specifics. When you're talking about is Michael Phelps better than Tom Brady as an athlete, it's like, sure, he's more athletic than him, but whose career is more impressive?
That's a good point. Whose career is more impressive, right? Maybe that's the list.
That might be it. And here's a little, just to add a little bit of context to this. So the list was compiled by votes, and in the end, ESPN received more than 70,000 votes from their contributors. So I would assume that that's anybody that's written for or currently writes for or is involved with ESPN in any way.
Got it.
So it's very, I would say there's a lot of probably subjectiveness into like
100%.
What is the individual that's voting consider to be more important. So I don't know. Patrick Mahomes for Kansas City fans, number 18 on the list. I think we're probably going to have some mixed opinions on where he's at. He's above guys like, there's really Floyd Mayweather's 25. I think it's pretty fair. Peyton Manning's 26. I think that you could argue that that if Patrick Mahomes hangs his hat up right now, he has a better career than Peyton Manning. He's won more Super Bowls. He's been more dominant in the seasons that he's had. He's had more impressive stat sheets, but
his career would be more impressive.
Yeah,
if that's what I think we cracked the code, and that's what they're kind of basing this off of.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so. I guess more importantly, it was like what I looked at it too is like when your team was playing against one of these other guys, who are you the most scared of?
That's a great question. I think Brady's the number one then. It's like Brady. I think Mahomes is somewhat that guy now to a certain degree, but I don't think anything will ever be like, don't give the ball to Brady back in the last 2 minutes. Yeah. It's like your team's driving down to score to tie it or take the lead with 3 minutes left in the game. You're like, we better figure out a way to make this drive take 3 minutes. Otherwise, we're going to lose.
Yeah, if he's got time.
We talked about that last week on the podcast, actually, about Brady and how you didn't want to give him the ball back and how now Pat is kind of that guy, 2 minutes, 13 seconds at that, people don't, in the past of, we'll just shut the game off, whatever. Well, if Pat gets the ball back with a minute left, anything can happen, you're still watching the game. There's no shot I'm turning the game off with a minute left, no matter what the score is, because, if 1-5 has the ball, anything can happen. We've seen it, time and time again.
I know. I'll be honest, as a Patriots fan, just whenever going up against Mahomes, as against him, I'm always afraid. He's always a quarterback that when I'm watching a team against, the Patriots, that I'm most afraid of, without question. Even still, the fact that the team and the weapons that he has don't compare with some of the other teams, and so it's amazing what even what he does from a New England fan standpoint.
And I think I was the same way with Brady when he was on New England, and even when he played for the Bucs. I don't think the team mattered. I think it was just his presence of him being on the field, his leadership, those guys around him buying in. I really think that, I for sure 100% wouldn't want that. That was a guy that I didn't want to face, no matter if it was preseason, regular season, playoffs. That's a guy I did not want to go up against.
Yeah, and I would say that like with LeBron on the other side, that like there's not that factor. It's just
absolutely
like,
not.
I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I feel like just watching from afar, like there might have been, certain teams that it's like, okay, we never feel like no lead is safe against these guys. But with any team that LeBron's on, and especially of recently, like I don't think that's the case.
No, if you ask any real true hardcore basketball fan, just looking at the top 10 and teams that have gone against special players, I was always the scariest of Kobe.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite old enough to remember a lot of what Michael Jordan did, so I can't, go that far. But whenever Kobe was playing the Celtics and he had the ball at the end of the game, I was scared.
Yeah.
You had the butterflies in your tummy. You're like, this isn't going to be good. This isn't going to be good.
I think a lot of players that are playing now that played against Kobe would agree with you as well. Mm-hmm. I've watched documentaries and stuff, and they talk about how Kobe just had that killer instinct of when he wants to take over, I mean, he can score at any point.
Right. And, like, do you feel that way with LeBron?
Sometimes, but, I mean, I think like Kobe had that switch. Do I think LeBron could probably score every time he got the ball if he wanted to? Probably. But I don't think that I don't know. It's hard.
I think there's been moments where you felt like that in LeBron's career. Like we're talking about was it 2016 championship with the Cavaliers?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like in that series, watching that, I feel like there was no question that when LeBron touched the ball, something special was going to happen, or he was going to make great defensive plays.
It's just crazy how it seems like he turns it on and off, where, you know, some of these other guys that are just killers, like
Just keep it on.
Kobe and, you know, Michael and, you know, even back to, you know, Larry Bird and those guys are just relentless no matter what. And it seems like, you know, with LeBron, if he loses, he loses. You know, these other guys, when they're playing, it just seems like it would kill them. You know, maybe that's another list ESPN should do. Like, who are you most afraid of? Biggest, you know, the scariest athletes for your team to go against. Because I don't think LeBron makes the top 100.
I think we can all agree Tom Brady's probably one on that one.
Maybe.
I would think so.
Yeah.
What about Michael?
I'm with you.
for sure up there.
I haven't seen Michael play. I've just seen highlights. So
Sure.
it's like the only highlights you see are going to be ones that people put together. Of, oh, dude, look at this, look at this. They're not going to post highlights of him doing dumb stuff.
That's true.
I mean, that's all I can see.
Yeah, that's true.
I've heard of people talking though about like his competitors, about just how big of a, like, not an ego, but he just like would scare people before games. Like, hey, I'm putting 50 on you tonight. And he would do it. And
Yeah.
like, so it almost was like on command. He could do what he wanted to do.
Yeah, I think the mental aspect, it was almost like just I don't want to say unhealthy obsession with winning, but because I don't think that's a thing, but just like a ridiculous level of like, it drove them crazy to lose. I mean, Kobe was that way.
Right.
All of the greats, I feel like like Tiger that way in his prime. Like, do not talk to Tiger, you know, when he's in the middle of a tournament. So we could sit here and talk about this list all day long. There's a bunch of additional guys on here that we could talk about. Tiger Woods at number 8, Kobe's at 10, by the way. So, and he's a 5-time champion in the 2000s too. So
Right.
more than LeBron there.
Right. But below him, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So we could probably all agree that this list is probably flawed. I think it's flawed, in my opinion.
I do too. We're talking like either way. If you were talking about the top 100 athletes based on athleticism, it's for sure flawed.
Right.
And then if you're talking about like whose career was more impressive, which that's what I think it should be in this time period, whose career was more
back
impressive.
to what you're saying about athleticism. I take that as, you know, you look at, we'll say who, you know, Michael Phelps per se, he's the number one on this list. Athleticism wise, could you put Michael Phelps on a football field? Would he be able to perform? Probably not. Could you put him on a basketball court? Is he gonna succeed on a basketball court? Could he hit a baseball? I don't know. Or some of these other guys, we'll use LeBron for example, who's just a freak. I mean, looks like he came out of a lab. You could probably put him on a football field. He's probably gonna have some success,
Right.
Just because of his pure athleticism, size. I mean, but that's all. I mean, that's all I had to say about the athleticism wise. But
I think that ESPN should call us next time when they're putting a list together.
I agree.
Get our vote, get our opinion on it.
Yeah, I think we could probably put a better list together here sitting in this bus over the next hour.
Oh, yeah, without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
Yeah. So, all right. Next, we are going to cover this weekend's golf major, the final major of the year. We're just going to briefly hit on it. The Open Championship just kicked off. Day 1 is wrapping up as we are recording this. There's a few interesting things that have happened on day 1 already, and this is going to lead into the first hot take of the week from me. Rory shooting 7 over on day 1. He's near the bottom of the list. He's in close to his homeland, home courses he's supposed to be familiar with. He took the time off in between the U.S. Open and this to kind of reset his mind, get himself straight, and then he comes out and lays an egg, right? After losing the U.S. Open to Bryson DeChambeau in heartbreaking fashion, it's like this guy's just taking loss after loss. And I don't think he wins another major. I think Rory is done on the major train.
Wow.
I think.
Wow, bold.
I really don't think Rory is going to win another major in his career. He's got a long time to play, but I just think that there's something there that's just fallen off with him. I don't think he has that edge anymore. I think that, you know, all of this stuff that's happened, PGA Live in the last few years, has just drained the guy mentally. And I don't dislike Rory, so I would like to see him compete well. It's fun to watch him golf, but that's my hot take.
Do you think that edge of wanting to win like starts to, you know, deteriorate as you, like you said, take multiple L's in a row? Or do you think you know, I hate losing, so I think when I lose, it genuinely pisses me off. Like, don't talk to me because I want to win that bad. Now, do you think, for example, like that, you were saying, no, he took a couple L's in a row. It's just, you said you feel like that edge isn't there anymore. Do you think that's because of that? Or?
Yeah, I don't know if you can, like, I think it's hard for a guy to get that back to the same level. Like, did Tiger ever get the same edge back after, granted that was due to injury somewhat, after all the stuff that he went through? You could argue in the early 2010s that he got back to similar fashion to how he was in the 2000s. You know, he did win another major. So and Phil won a major late in his career. So there's a point there to be made that there's a very good chance that Rory could just go out and have a good weekend.
That's what I'm saying. Could he get lucky one week?
Yeah, I think he for sure could. Now, I don't think it happens. But anybody can go out there. I mean, look, Brian Harmon went out there and had a good week last year at the Open Championship and won it. So
Who?
Brian Harmon.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. The Waggler.
Yeah.
Georgia farm boy.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Maybe he'll go on the ESPN list. Won a major, right? It's got to qualify for something.
I mean, of 2023, maybe he's up there. So, also at the U.S. Open, or not the U.S. Open, the Open Championship today, a pretty bad beat. A French golfer who I've never heard of by the name of Romain Lanquist was on the 9th hole, and it's pissing rain in his face. It's windy. It's the Open Championship. It's supposed to be hard, tall grass, everything. He's in the rough, like 3 feet of grass. Chunks a shot. It goes like 5-10 feet into the same grass that he just hit out of. He starts to walk up to it, just turn around, takes his hat off, says, "I'm done. I quit." Just walks up to his partner's or his playing partner's caddy, shakes his hand, says, "I'm done."
The video of it is hilarious. You can just see the defeat in his face. He, like Logan said, he hits the ball, walks up to it, just, "I'm done. Can't do it."
Yeah, when you showed me that video this afternoon, I was like, I don't think I've ever seen something like that, at least at a major.
Well, it speaks to the level of, like, talking about the list of the best athletes to the level of difficulty of what they're doing and how impressive it is for guys to go out there and compete at a high level. Like, these are, I mean, talking about this guy, like, probably one of the best golfers, you know, from his area, maybe in France, whatever, and comes out there and just can't handle it. The mental side of it too.
Yeah. I'll give you a hot take. What was his name?
Romain.
I don't think Romain's ever going to make the ESPN top 100 list.
I don't think that's a hot take.
I just got a feeling. I don't know. I'd be willing to bet on that one.
That's probably a pretty safe bet. So, all right.
I have a golf question for you.
All right, let's hear it.
What do you got?
Will Ricky Fowler ever win a major?
I think it's going to be a luck thing if he does.
I feel like he's been
he can't.
Good in golf for a long time. He just never can get the job done.
I mean, he came super close at the U.S. Open last year.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the best guy left who's not won a major.
One of them.
That.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really I only really follow golf for the majors.
Yeah. That's all that's really worth watching.
Right.
Now.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the Ryder Cup. I mean, that's kind of fun. But other than that, you know, if it's not a major, I'm not watching the normal, you know, third tournament of the year.
You're going to sit down and watch the John Deere Classic.
That's it. No.
Yeah.
No. Waste Management Open in Phoenix.
That one's kind of fun.
I've been to it. It is fun.
It's fun.
But I'm not going to sit on my couch and watch it on a Saturday afternoon. You know, I mean, it's not that exciting anymore.
No. What other what positive plays performances do we have from this week?
I had a positive 14-year-old, I think his name is Kevin Sullivan, made his Major League Soccer debut last night at 14 years old, breaking Freddie Adu's record. Obviously think the game is changing. Obviously younger generations have a lot more access to trainers, equipment, so on and so forth for things like that. And I think it's pretty cool that, I mean, he's 14 years old. Compared to what I was doing at 14, I think probably all you guys can agree. Definitely wasn't playing Major League Soccer, yet alone thinking I would even probably step on a Major League anything field at that professional level. So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. 14 years old, so.
Crazy. It's like a freshman in high school. Is that like?
We were talking like, is he taking online classes? Like, how's that work? You go to school till 3, and then bell rings, bus picks you up, takes you to the stadium. How's that work?
I don't know. I think I think he's going to be okay if he doesn't graduate high school right now. You know, I think if he just keeps going. I know I read a little bit about it that he even signed a contract to go to like Man City or something when he turns 18.
Really?
So yeah, like he's like that much of a prodigy. That after he's done with the Union, the Philadelphia Union, then he's going over to Europe to play. So
that's where all the big stars go in the soccer world. I mean, just
have you
It's a global
seen
sport.
the money that those guys make?
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's
Sickening.
nuts. Yeah.
didn't someone sign $1 billion contract recently or close to Mbappe?
Mbappe was supposed to. I don't know if he did or
Did it
not.
not go through? Or maybe it was. Didn't the Saudis offer him?
Yeah, he
$1
was
billion?
supposed to, and they're like terrible.
Yeah.
But they were like, oh, if we offer him this money, he'll come over. And I don't know, dude. I don't know.
God, I should have taken sports a little more seriously when I was growing up.
Man.
Yeah. It's just I feel like, I mean, it's just changed with social media too, and the way things go now. Like, kids have such exposure at really whatever age they want to have now. It's like growing up for us, even, I feel like it was, hey, you write letters to coaches if you want to try to play in college. You
Handwrite them.
send out, you send out your huddle highlight link. That's about all you can do. I mean, your coach can talk to people for you. Now it's like, I feel like these kids are so
Twitter, Instagram, social media. The right person sees it. It's got 1 million views in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then Nick Saban's calling you. How we doing?
Just at the All-Star game, just real quick, just, bounce back to it.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who won the MVP?
Ooh. Was it Duran? Was the guy from the Red Sox?
It was, but the fact that you don't know who it was kind of tells you a little bit more about the All-Star game. Just wanted to touch on that again.
Yeah. Do you know who started for both leagues?
I know Skeens.
Yeah, Paul Skeens. I mean, he's fun to watch. He is.
Yeah, he's
right.
Did you know that?
Yeah, with the rookie from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Baltimore guy, I think, Corbin Burns.
Again.
For the American League.
It's
Which was a robbery. Well, I don't know if it was a robbery, but Seth Lugo, with a better previous 30 days, should have been the starter. He's had a rough few starts.
Yeah, Red Sox lit him up last week.
Yeah, they did. I don't want to hear about it.
It's all right. I won't bring it up again.
Yeah. All right. Our final segment, the CTE Case of the Week. So this is going to be someone that has just not had a good week.
It's been a week.
and there's a few that we can talk about, but we're bringing it back to baseball. How about, I mean, that, like, in recent memory, definitely the worst national anthem performance I've ever.
Could have honestly been why the reviews were so bad, or the ratings. People might have tuned in, saw that, and be like, "Oh yeah."
That was for the home run derby, though.
That is true. Yeah.
Right.
The national anthem for the All-Star game was
Redemption.
awesome.
Cody Johnson.
Yeah, Cody Johnson was phenomenal.
It was, man, again, I didn't watch it, but you just hear, that's the only thing you're hearing about the home run derby is the fact that this country music star butchered the national anthem. That's probably not the pub you want, right, to get more fans.
Well, think, like, to begin with, she's like a B-list celebrity singer, Grammy nominations, whatever. Yeah. She said that, like, you talk about coming up on a stage where you have the opportunity to just probably take your career to the next level.
Excel your career.
Yeah,
sure.
At least move it forward somehow. If if you do a good job, and then that's what comes up.
Yeah.
That's I can't believe the people around her and her team. I don't know if she had many there with her or whatever. I would assume she had some type of manager let her go up there and sing.
If she,
Well, what are you doing? Like, you know that this is such a big moment in your career, right? So, like, national audience, I mean, there was hundreds of people watching, right? So, on TV, and you're going to go up there drunk?
back to what you were saying about touching on both of those things. So she says she was drunk. Going back to what you were saying about her team, do you think it's a worse look if she doesn't sing, but said, I can't sing? Her team's like, she's not in the right mental state to sing right now. She's had too much to drink. Or
I don't even think they had to say that.
Or do you go up there and make a fool of yourself? Which is worse?
Making a fool of yourself, without
Absolutely.
a question. It's blown over. We're not even sitting here talking about it if she doesn't go up there and over, because you probably won't even know about it. Yeah. I didn't know who was going to sing the national anthem before the All-Star game or before the home run derby.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what they could have done. They probably could have just played a recording over the PA. It would have been weird, or try to figure something out.
They may have a backup too.
They might have had a backup.
Yeah, say you have laryngitis, like something like, hey, my voice is not good.
Yeah, she came down not feeling well, family emergency. Think of any excuse in the book besides I'm drunk.
Fast forward to Fast forward to the next day. Do you think it was a good look for her to come out and say, "Oh, I was drunk, checking myself into rehab"?
Oh, man.
Or do you think she was just kind of? Do you think she was really drunk? I mean, do we know? Will we ever know if she was really drunk, or
I don't know.
Or is that just that was a shit job?
Yeah, and
here's an excuse.
It sounded bad, and she has like songs that sound decent.
100%.
Like I wouldn't expect anybody who calls singing their career to go up there and have a performance like that if something's not seriously wrong with them. Like if you say that you sing for a career and that's how you make money, you shouldn't have stuff that sounds like that.
Even if she was drunk, it still should have sounded better.
Well, that's what I was telling Dalton. I said, dude, sometimes when I get a couple drinks in me, I think I sound pretty good singing. So
here's
can't tell me nothing.
Here's the thing for her, right? Like, we were talking about the list. She's going to be on a list.
Yeah,
she'll be in the top 5 worst national anthems of all time.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's surpassed Roseanne Barr. I know you guys don't know who she is. She's a little older. But she was a comedian who sang, and if you look up that national anthem, it's close. It's really close, and that's kind of sad.
So on the Billboard list, she's number 4. Right?
That's the worst?
Roseanne's 2.
Okay.
huh?
Fergie's 3.
Who's number 1?
Who's one?
Number 1 is Kat DeLuna in 2008 at a Cowboys game.
Oof.
Wow. I feel like we're gonna have to put that in. Watch it.
Let's flip the script. What are the best national anthems you've ever heard? I think I'm going to go Chris Stapleton.
That was
Super Bowl last year. That was
definitely one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whitney Houston did one in a Super Bowl, which was pretty memorable.
Yeah.
The sad thing is, it's like I don't think you really remember the great ones.
That's why a lot of performing artists won't do the Super Bowl, because they say at best people are going to say that was good. At worst, it ruins your career.
Yeah,
makes
So
sense.
like the reward there, risk versus reward.
Slim.
Yeah, it's just not worth it to certain people. I mean, like the thing too is that Roseanne Barr is a comedian,
correct.
not a singer. It's like that. I think that one's just more disrespectful to our country and the national anthem as a whole.
Yeah, she did it as a joke.
Right. She spit and rubbed her crotch afterwards.
Yeah.
Was laughing during it.
Yeah, laughing during it. Like that's just completely disrespectful. Like that's on a whole nother level. Talking about worst, I think that this has got a shot to be up there. I mean, we were talking about R. Kelly, Fergie.
Yep.
Like
Carl Lewis.
Yeah.
Carl Lewis. Yeah, that was painful.
Fergie's was really bad, but she didn't sound like she didn't know how to sing, right? Like it wasn't good.
Yeah.
She tried to put her own take on it and it failed.
Happens.
But her voice didn't crack she didn't mess up the words.
Yeah, it was bad enough that the players at the All-Star game were laughing at her, but hey, she gave it a shot, right? Took a chance, put her own spin on it, just didn't work. At least she didn't sound like she was drunk, though. We'll come out to say she was drunk. She was like, "Hey, I just tried something.
Yeah,
Didn't work.
Wasn't good."
I mean,
Extreme ownership.
extreme ownership. We'll talk like they surely practice the national anthem at these events before they go out and do it. Like someone had to have heard her do it before she, like Fergie, before she did it, right?
I would sure hope she's not wigging it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: it's like
Great.
You write my checks, whatever you say.
if you're around, yeah, like her people are just looking at her, probably saying, "Oh, it's awesome." Like they're probably afraid to say, it sounds terrible.
That's a good point. Yeah. So let us know in the comments who you think has the worst national anthem performance of all time. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer that our CTE case of the week is Ingrid Andress.
100%.
Absolutely.
Has to be. So, okay. All right. Thanks for joining us on the first episode of
Triple threat right now, isn't it?
the triple threat as of right now. We've got Dalton over here in the jump seat. That's what we're going to call his spot. So, might end up being a foursome here. Might have to change up the name a little bit. Thinking maybe Four Vertz. So.
Someone who didn't want to do this is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like,
Got
okay.
a lot to say over there, bud.
That's right. That's right.
But,
Just because the camera's not on me. I'm good.
all right. This has been the triple threat this week. Thanks for joining us. Tune in next week.